people who perhaps do not even know how this whole Spiky and then CAF issue came about. You want to give us a brief into how this whole issue came about? What really happened between Kobe and then, or should I say Spiky and then CAF?
Right. So in 2017, 2018, CAF, annually they have their CAF awards where they award African footballers, both male and female, on the continent. Now, as part of the promotion, they would do certain artworks and videos to promote the event. Now, what happened was I was there randomly, and then I got a call from a colleague, Gary Al Smith, who's in sports. So he was like, hey, I saw a video and it had a soundtrack and it sounded just like yours. I mean, Gary listens to my stuff a lot, so he just figured out that it was mine. So he sent me the link, I listened, and right to his word, it was my soundtrack. And so I wrote to CAF and said, hey, this is wrong. You can't use something that belongs to someone else without, one, editing them, and two, you didn't even ask me permission. You didn't pay me for it. So, this is wrong. Then, after trying to get their attention, finally I got their attention, and then they took it down. But it was too late because other people, obviously would have taken it and rebroadcasted it. And these are soundtracks that I put online to get people who would want to license them later. And that's how, obviously, I make money for my beats.
Yeah.
So them doing that meant that if I wanted to license it to anybody, I wouldn't, because somebody has already used it. So imagine maybe a movie wanted to use our soundtrack. They can't because someone has used it. So it's no longer exclusive to them. So we ended up in court, and CAF basically lost because the court decided that they had obviously infringed. I mean, they even accepted that, yes, they used it without my permission. But in their defense, they said it was not a commercial event, it was non-profit, which, I mean, I leave that to you and all your audience to judge, just like the court did. And the court came up and said, listen, you can't take someone's property. So, yeah, the court awarded me $250,000 and 40,000 cedis and legal fees. So yeah, that's what happened.
Now, when this was awarded, I mean, I saw a number of people celebrate because that was one of like a landmark ruling, because you know how copyright issues do happen in Ghana. Most often is settled out of court, and so there are no legal precedents. A lot of challenge. People were excited to have this. And people even thought that he had taken the money and already spent it. But we woke up to see something different. They are appealing the case after several months. The judgment was in July last year, right?
Yes, indeed. It was in July.
And from when the judgment was given till now, what happened? What have you been going through?
So, like right after the judgment, you have to also, first off, CAF is not in Ghana physically. CAF is in Egypt.
Yeah.
And so I had two options, either suing CAF in Egypt or suing them in Ghana. And I didn't have the financial muscle to sue them in Egypt, so I sued them in Ghana. Also because I got lawyers who were ready to work with me on a basis that whatever we get from the case, they would take a percentage, right? Because initially I tried, honestly, I won't lie to you, but the cost of legal fees in Ghana is no joke. And also I lost hope. I won't lie. I lost hope because I'm like, Charlie, how am I going to get this money to fight this case if lawyers are this expensive? Even to speak to certain lawyers or consultation, I had to pay a lot of money. And I mean, at the time, I didn't have that kind of money, so I just basically closed my mind. So I met my lawyer, Sarah Nokwanku, who was like, listen, I can take up this case. I'm an intellectual property lawyer. And when we win, I take a percentage. And I was like, great, that's all I've been looking for. And so we did go in there. So after the judgment, you have to pay some monies to the courts, obviously, for execution and out of the jurisdiction as well, because CAF is not here. You have to.
Yeah, that's more like a
jurisdiction.
more like a conflict of law situation.
And it's not cheap.
Yeah,
it's not cheap. So then we started to execute. So after judgment, you have to execute. The court is not going to collect your money for you. You have to go and collect your money yourself. And so you have either you go and tell CAF with your judgment that, hey, here's the judgment, give me my money, and then CAF can say, I don't have money. So you have to find your own ways. Sometimes people garnish other people's accounts. So you basically go and find the person's bank account and then go and tell CAF that, go and tell the court that I found the person's account, they have X amount of money, so you can take it from me. And then the court can then take the money for you. But you have to do all that yourself.
Yeah.
So imagine me having to find assets elsewhere in Africa. That's money you have to spend to search, pay companies, investigators and stuff, trying to find out where they have assets so you can get the courts to put their hands on it. Now, before I could even finish doing that, then CAF says, listen, we don't think that the money that the court awarded is good, is justified. We think it's too much. And they reference an interview I did saying that I didn't expect that kind of money. But what exactly I said was that I wasn't expecting that money because people dissuaded me that Ghana courts, how much would they even give you? Like, how would they give you?
As judgment,
And so CAF is sitting on that saying that even the guy you gave him that money said he doesn't deserve that much. But that's what I said. And so, yes, that's why they appealed.
Wow. So as it stands, they have appealed the judgment and they are hoping that it would actually be reduced.
Sorry, I didn't catch that.
So what are they looking for? What are the reliefs they are seeking now? They are hoping that the judgment will be reduced.
Yes, they're hoping that the money will be reduced to something that they think is worth how much I should be paid. But you and I know intellectual property is not cheap. It's extremely expensive. So it's just that we weren't, or should I say personally, I had been dissuaded by a lot of people to believe that Ghana wasn't there yet with these kind of cases for me to be awarded something worth the intellectual property value, and I had somebody reference other cases, just like you did when you started this, that nobody has really received anything substantial, so great an amount that that would, basically motivate me to pursue this in court. But I wanted to do this not because of just even the money, but for the fact that the blatant disregard for, my talents, property, my time, my craft, it's sheer disrespect. Think about it. If this had happened to a Western musician, do you think they would have been dragging this issue in court? I mean, when, what's her name? Shakira came to do Waka Waka, they paid her. When Kenan did When I Get Older, he was paid. So why is it that my music is used and I've not been paid and I'm still spending money? I'm spending money to chase what is mine. It doesn't even make sense. All they could have done was just call, say, listen, Spiky, this is how much we're going to give you. We like a soundtrack. We would like to even sign a retainer with you so that you produce music for us and whatever we're doing. And I would have been okay with it, But to just ignore and just be like, I don't even know what they're saying, but it just gives off the feeling that they forget this, I'm Ghana boy, let's just frustrate him. He ran out of money and dog.
So at the moment, I understand that you have created a GoFundMe account to help raise some money to be able to fight this. And fighting these, like you put it, corporations with big pockets and all that, you as an individual. Others have suggested that, okay, why don't you guys get this out of court and try and settle it so that, you can have some monies, then you'll be okay, every party will be okay. But you want to go the full length because, like you say, they might even want to, they have a right of appeal all the way to the Supreme Court and they might go all the way. Are you ready psychologically, financially? How ready are you?
Psychologically, it's draining because I have my life to live. I have to go to work. Monday I have to go to court and I have to pay my lawyers. I don't even have that money. And I'm not talking like a small amount of money. You're talking 6 figures, And so what do? Do I put my work on hold, go to court? Do I put money into this case? Do I pay my lawyers? And basically, so financially, psychologically, this is draining, and it's just painful because you sit down, you think about it, just put it into this context that you are robbed in your house. Somebody comes to carry everything that you worked so hard for and takes it away. And then you catch them, take them to court, and then you are spending more money than, the person who stole to get your stuff back. All because that person does not have that stress of, they have other things. They can delegate other people to do their work for them. But you have to put your whole life on hold to go to court, to chase money, to do filing, to go have meetings, to discuss stuff about the case. It's draining. The GoFundMe, obviously, because financially, I won't lie, this is very expensive. Litigation is expensive. You're constantly filing stuff. You're constantly paying stuff left, right, center. And if you have a life besides that, and you don't have any money set aside to fight legal battles, obviously you will have to find some money elsewhere. And there are cases where some people even buy cases. You heard somebody who just come and say, you know what, I think you have a case, so I'm going to pay everything, and then whatever you win, we share.
Yeah.
That's how expensive cases can be, that people invest in them. And in my case, I spoke to people, I won't lie, I went around, spoke to most of the big people I know, and these are people who have also been in cases, and they're like, listen, I know how these things go. These guys will drag it to as far as they can drag it to financially frustrate you, and eventually you're probably going to spend more than you're going to get from the courts. So on hindsight, when you think about some of these things they've said, then you think about, so really, is it worth it? But then if I give up now, what happens? Does it set a precedent for every single young entrepreneur, producer out there that, Charlie, if somebody steals your stuff and you don't have money, you've lost it, Or do I, fight this to the end, and then at least people are sure that the courts, even the first judgment was enough to let people know that the courts work in Ghana. If you push it, you push your case, if you follow through with it, the courts work. But at the end of the day, if I let it go, they win. I lose, pretty much I've spent money and I didn't get anything. And anyone in my shoes would feel very, hurt and dissuaded. So I'm now pursuing this not as a way to make money from it, because obviously from the way it's going, I'm probably going to spend more than I'll get. But at the end of the day, people will remember that there's a David and Goliath, one man versus a whole organization. I think it would also make people take.
Oh, we lost Spiky on the line. I don't know what exactly happened. We try and reconnect with Spiky and wrap it up on that. Is he back on the line? Okay, we try and connect with Spiky. And you can hear that. It's quite frustrating. It's very frustrating as an individual trying to fight, a whole organization with deep pockets when they frustrated you of your economic and moral rights. Spiky joins us again on the line. Spiky, the line was a bit hitchy and had to go off. So you were telling us about the need for the GoFundMe account as well.
Yes, so basically just to help me fight CAF and let people know that you can't use creatives, stuff without paying them or, without their permission. After my case, I've had many artists call me, many of them, that they've been in this situation, and not only even musicians, sometimes graphic designers. A graphic designer, a photographer even hit me up that a TV station had used his photographs for an event without even consulting him, and he wanted to know if he was eligible to suing. And I'm like, yes, it's your property. Did they ask you? No. And that's the thing. People just, especially in this part of the world, we don't value intellectual property. We see it as, you just sat there and then you did this thing. Anyone can use it. But in actual fact, it's someone's property, somebody's thoughts, it's someone's bread and butter. Somebody eats from this stuff. right? Photographers who go and take pictures at weddings, they're paid a lot of money because you can't learn that skill on your own. They've harnessed those skills for years. And musicians the world over, this is what they eat from. Today, a musician can do a song and become a millionaire because that's what they created. It's their property. But in Ghana, somebody thinks they're doing you a favor if they take your intellectual property and use it, and they tell you something like, "Oh, but I'm giving you exposure."
Yeah.
Exposure, nobody what I could chop.
That's quite sad.
People, the electricity, the going up and down, the mental torture. Most producers do not sleep at night. They stay overnight, in the midnight when everybody else is sleeping to produce. And during the day, they have to probably go back to their day job. So honestly, this for me is a way to just let the creative industry know that they really deserve more than they're being given. Whether you're a photographer, a filmmaker, even a social media content creator, you can't put content on social media and somebody comes to take it and use it without your permission or without remunerating you. You created that thing. It's your baby. I mean, think about it like that. It's your baby and somebody's stolen it and is making money out of it and you just let it go. So yeah, the GoFundMe is essentially to empower me to fight this Goliath in the creative industry, to prove to everybody else that, and to basically set that rule. Listen, do not touch, ask permission, pay before play. It's that simple. That's all I'm trying to do.
And I know that's a worthy call. For those of us in the space, we do support it, and we are praying that we're able to get, the right thing. I do understand the frustrations that you have to go through in all these, the litigations issues and the monies you have to spend and all that. Now, the GoFundMe account has been set. You care to share with us how we can access that so that for anyone who wants to contribute so that you're able to fight this case to the end, we can actually support. How do we do that?
So the link is on all my social media platforms, The Real Spiky, and I'm encouraging a lot of more people to share it. So if you're following me on any platform, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, I've posted it there. You just click the link and donate. If you can't donate, just share it. Let it get out there, let people see that this is what we're doing, and we're trying to fight people who have a dedicated legal team, whereas we do not. And we're just trying to raise money to fund our case and fight CAF.
Okay. I wouldn't take much of your time this morning, but I think you've taken us through virtually everything that's happened from you filing till today. They actually appealing, and your desire to fight this to the end, and the fact that you had to set a GoFundMe account to help go through this legal process. But we wish you well. I hope that you don't give up, because I understand how frustrating it can be. And from the text that you put online and even from your voice, we can know how draining this has been on you. But please don't give up. For some people, they will say, okay, for you just want to have a case study so that you can use for your legal stuff. But then it's worth it that we have some of these things so that future generations will know that, listen, you can't just abuse the economic and moral rights of any intellectual property. The right things must be done so that Ghana would actually grow in that area, because we continue to have it as a very gray area where people just abuse it. But we're looking forward to the best. So thank you very much, Spiky, for speaking to us on YFM this morning.
Thank you very much.
Right. All right, guys. So there you have it. Spiky fighting CAF. And I'm sure you know what that means. Let me go for this quick one. I'm back. I'll talk to